No, I would definitely agree. That's exactly what happened to the Bills. We just talked about this.
Yeah,
I'm
but the
saying,
Bills are so young. Josh
but
Allen is
that's what
young.
that's what
Before
I'm saying. Tom Brady has done this so much and he's gotten so far. What more is there to get?
That's
Why
not
would
the
he
thing
go
season,
another year?
to
so he
prove that
doesn't end
he's
on the worst season.
still
Like you
Tom
said,
Brady.
like
He wants that Peyton Manning year. Like Peyton Manning did this.
how many awards do you have? You already said yourself he has so many, and how many Super Bowls has he gone to? Why would he end?
It's like 12.
Why would he end on a bad season? Why? After everything he's done, why would he end on a bad season?
Because he's had so many good seasons, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so you're telling me if you were a pro player and you had the worst season of your life, you would quit?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the All-Star Trio podcast. As always, I am your host, Nick, joined, as always, by my co-host, Luke.
How's it going?
And our moderator, Tori.
What's up, guys?
Tori, kick us off.
First segment, baseball.
Baseball content.
Here we go.
Finally.
And it's controversial.
The best type of something.
Okay. First topic, because I'm just gonna read this. I'm just gonna read this. Big Papi makes it in. That's what Nick said.
For this segment, I will be talking as little as possible because this is the Luke moment. Because he wanted this, and I figured if we put it at the beginning, we'll get it out of the way and be done with it. Luke, floor's yours.
Let's go, Big Papi. Completely deserved. Absolutely deserved. I don't think I know or have seen anybody that has any objections to Big Papi being in. The objections come with the other talking point of this part. But as far as Big Papi goes, yes. Completely and utterly deserved.
I completely agree with you. The only debate that I have is from people I've seen. They're saying that he shouldn't have gotten in his first year. He shouldn't have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. It should have came a little bit later.
You know what I have to say to that?
Who cares? He would have been a Hall of Famer anyway.
So. Cry about it.
Overall, no one really has any problems with Big Papi being in the Hall of Fame. David Ortiz, man, myth, legend. He deserved it. I mean, nothing else you can say about it. Now, we want to get to the more fun part. Tori?
Pete Rose, Barry Bonds, and Roger Clemens don't make it in. Let's talk about that.
The MLB hit leader, home run leader, and Cy Young Award winner record all are not in the Hall of Fame.
I would like to read.
Ridiculous.
Before we go on, I would like to read something from the Baseball Hall of Fame website. It's everyone who has made the pilgrimage to Cooperstown to honor the all-time greats who are enshrined in the Hall of Fame. It's the relationships forged, stories shared, cherished moments created. The game connects us all. That's baseball, and that's what the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum is all about. Now you're going to tell me Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens aren't in.
Dude, my issue with it is it's the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of who followed the rules perfectly. If you're going to put them, if you're going to keep them in the record books, if you're going to flaunt them around as these top-level baseball players, if you're going to put the commissioner who was in charge during the steroid era, act like he didn't know this stuff was going on. He knew. He knew it was happening.
It's kind of hard not to know in that era.
Barry Bonds' home run record baseball is in the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds isn't. Clemens isn't, and Pete Rose isn't. If you're going to keep their records around and keep flaunting them around as these high-tier baseball players, these famous baseball players, you should probably put them in the Hall of Fame. It's the Hall of Fame. If you're not putting them in there, it just ruins the integrity. Everyone wants to say, oh, we put these steroid players in, it ruins the integrity of the sport. Not putting them in ruins the integrity of the sport.
One sentiment I saw, I don't remember who it was now, but it said, if Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens don't make it in, then the Hall has failed in its set goal of preserving baseball history. And I don't like steroids being in the hall as much as the next guy, but these guys are like multi-generational talents that define the game. And some would say their time in the league saved the MLB.
It did. It did. That's why the steroid era is so big. That's why the commissioner let it happen. It saved the league. Nobody was watching until this happened. The home run race, the Barry Bonds' entire career, this whole thing was going on. They knew this was happening. The commissioner knew. The players knew. The coaches knew. Everyone knew. It was literally, it's called the steroid era. You can't call it the steroid era and it not be well known that there were probably steroids. My only thing is, going back to the commissioner of the era being in, he wasn't voted in by the committee. He was voted in by a separate group who also has control of that. But it's still, he's in there. If you're going to have him in there, it's going to happen. The only thing that can solve this, if the San Francisco Giants re-sign Barry Bonds for a 10-day contract, it resets and he can go back in.
All right, Boston. I know Boston's got their eyes on Seiya Suzuki, but let's also bring Clemens back and reset that timer. Look, I really want to reinforce, I don't like steroids being in the hall, but for what it's worth, these players were more than the steroids.
Barry Bonds had a Hall of Fame career before he was even found out. Like before he actually tested for him. He had a Hall of Fame career. If you take away all that afterwards, he's still fine. I think it was that if you took away like all 734, I believe, of his home runs, his on-base
turned them into outs or something.
Yeah, he turned them all into outs. His on-base percentage was still like 370 something, which is pretty darn good for an entire career, taking away all of his home runs. It's ridiculous. If you're going to flaunt his records, if you're going to flaunt his name, he should be in the Hall of Fame. That's baseball talk. Thank you. Just wanted to get that rant. Me and Luke as
That's it. Player. That's it for baseball. Woo!
Luke as a current baseball player, me as a previous baseball player and huge fan of baseball. When we heard about this, was huge. Big Poppy being in impacted Luke. Barry Bonds, Pete Rose, Clemens not being in, that all set me off a bit. So I feel like we had to include that, and it's a pretty big thing to have happen. So thank you. This was pretty much our 5-minute rant at the beginning of the video. But
and for what it's worth, the MLBPA and the MLB have inched closer to an agreement.
Well, I mean, considering 5-minute rants now at the start, I mean, it's the 15th episode. We got to switch it up a little. I mean, second segment, basketball. Let's talk about Harden hates New York in the Irving situation.
I told you. If Kyrie wasn't figured out, it was going to be the downfall of this team.
It's causing a lot. I mean, it doesn't help that Harden's gone out and said, like, I miss Houston. I miss that small city vibe, the Houston vibe. Houston versus New York. Texas versus New York.
I guess
he hates New York.
Relatively small size.
He doesn't like New York. He doesn't like the people there. He doesn't like the city. The Irving situation, you can tell. There's like in his interviews, he like mentions if we were healthy, if we were all here, if everyone was going well. You can tell like there's little bits of him wanting to say something about Irving and him not doing it.
Yeah.
You can tell he's holding himself back.
It kind of always feels like whenever Harden or Irving is involved in a super team, it collapses before it, brings about the golden age of whatever.
I feel like it's more Durant that does that. That's kind of the issue here. I wouldn't be mad if Harden left in free agency. Yes, he wanted to go here, but you got to remember why he wanted to come here. He wanted to play with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and put up wins. Kevin Durant's constantly injured and out for weeks at a time. Irving, his situation's well known. He can't play home games.
Yeah, we've talked about it already.
He's kind of been robbed of what he thought. And if this hurts him, like he went out of his way. He hurt his reputation. Because the thing about Harden was that he was loyal to Houston. That was his thing. He went out there and hurt his reputation and joined a super team. He ring chased for them. And he is not getting his end of the bargain.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, if he leaves, there are big talks for him going to Philly, and I think him and Embiid together is the next Shaq and Kobe. So
There's a lot of connections to Philadelphia, let's say.
yeah,
I know
that's
I
kind
know he
of
has a connection to their president as well as like an investor and I think maybe a coach. Yeah.
if he leaves, Philly would probably be the place to look. I think that'd be huge for Philadelphia, especially since now they're apparently not going to trade Simmons since Sacramento has backed out of all trade talks. And being a Philly fan hurts, man. Being a Phillies fan hurts. All right, Tori, continue us on.
All right. Is Philly the only place y'all think he would go?
No, I think all the ties are to Philly. But we also have to remember like all the stuff he was talking about before he went to Brooklyn. I mean, Luke, how would you feel if Harden went to the Celtics?
That would be a very big name trade. That would be lose one star to gain another.
I mean, it wouldn't even have to be a trade. He leaves in free agency. He could just join.
True.
I mean, that's a pretty good big three in Tatum, Brown, and Harden. I mean,
True.
Harden can go anywhere. He could go back to Houston if he wanted to. I don't know why he would, but he could.
Yeah. He wants a ring. Like you said, he's ring chasing right now. Yeah. He wants to get back to a team that has a chance at the championship.
Harden to Golden State. He's been hanging out with Kevin Durant. It's obvious. We're missing it, but it's there. Curry, Harden, Clay. Oh my God.
Well,
that's horrible. ISO plays between Harden and Curry, passing out to Clay in the corners with Draymond absolutely making everyone angry.
All right, maybe we don't go that far, James. All right, settle down, James. Let's not go to Golden State anytime soon.
I mean, there are ties. All right, sorry.
All right, let's talk about the All-Star starters. Let's start with our East pool. Let's start with Giannis.
Yeah.
Another year, another MVP caliber.
Pretty much.
It's Giannis who, this is what you expect. The man's second in MVP voting right now. He's third in Defensive Player of the Year. He's the unstoppable Greek freak. He is what he is.
He's leading a resurgent Bucks, and the fans love it.
DeRozan.
Crazy year.
Respect on the man. The mid-range king. Oh, what is... He deserves it. He deserves it.
He's having a crazy year.
He really is.
Embiid.
Congrats.
My boy, Billy. What
He's literally all Philly has going for them at this point.
No. Yes. But
at least he admits it.
Yeah. There's not much else going on in Philly right now. It's the Embiid show.
Durant.
I don't know if he'll play. I think he might be injured through it. He's currently the captain of the team, but
yeah,
I don't know if he'll end up playing. But
I think he's probably gonna wait until closer to the day to decide.
Yeah, he definitely deserved it. So there's no doubting that it's Kevin Durant. But
and the final in the East pool, Young.
Trae Young, put some respect on his name.
OU rise up, baby.
Dude, he's gotten so much hate for looking like a lollipop that got dropped on the floor. It's about time he got some respect.
Moving on.
I'm gonna Photoshop that later.
It's already been Photoshopped. Just Google it. If you Google Trae Young, it's one of the pictures.
Oh no. Moving on to the West pool, Curry.
Deserved. He's fallen off a bit.
Surprised?
He's kind of been rough the last few games. I mean, he should have been the captain. He was, I think, over 100,000 votes above LeBron. And then, the last week or two, he dropped to 80,000 below LeBron. So, I mean, he's had a rough few games, but he's still got enough votes to be an all-star. So.
Yep. Not surprising anyone, so.
Might as well move on to that one, LeBron James.
Who would have seen it? Who would have seen it coming?
He's gonna be there. 18th time. This is the 18th time he's an all-star. He has as many years as an all-star as I've been on this earth. I've lived 1 year longer. That is ridiculous. This man was drafted the year I was born. Retire. You're old. He's about to take the scoring title. This man's second in points right now.
Jokic.
He's the only thing Denver has on for.
Exactly what he said.
All the talks are Embiid and Jokic, and they continue to get more and more similar every single year. I mean, the man's good at everything except being fast and playing defense. So, and even defensively, he's still.
So really, he's not good at everything.
He's still averaging like 2 steals and 2 blocks a game, and he's averaging like 15 rebounds, 20-something points, 8-something assists. It's ridiculous. The guy's unreal for how like big and unathletic he is. It's unreal.
Morant.
We're gonna talk about athletic, but the
this
name,
is your second congrats.
Ja Morant. I called it. You can't tell. I don't get many things right in the NBA. I kind of just go with a lot of speculation. So whenever I get something right,
it's okay. You don't get many things right anyways.
I mean, just like how Luke hates the Bills, I gotta love Ja Morant. So I mean, Ja Morant.
And finally, in the West Pool, Wiggins.
Who?
What? Oh my God, that dude. Golden State fans are idiots. 15 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. That is not all-star caliber player. He is 79th in PER right now. And all that Golden State fans have managed to do is hurt themselves, because now they can't go to, oh, Steph has no help in the playoffs. Oh, it's just a Steph. Steph had an all-star starter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my whole thinking of this is they voted the wrong Golden State Warrior. It should have been, if there was going to be another guy on that team, it should have been Draymond. Defensive player of the year, top caliber player. If Draymond got in, I wouldn't be mad. I am angry that Wiggins got in. It makes no sense to me at all.
I think from an outsider's point of view, logically, that makes sense to put Draymond in over Wiggins. I still don't know who that is, but
I just want to talk snubs real quick. Andrew Wiggins should not have made it. We know this. And him being in snubbed out players. And on top of that, there's a few other players that got snubbed. Luka Doncic should have been an all-star starter. He'll still be an all-star. He should have been a starter. It's ridiculous that he's not. Zach LaVine, he could have been an all-star player. I'm not mad that he's not, but he should have been. Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, Karl Anthony Towns, all all-star guys that I think got snubbed. So the Utah Jazz continue to get snubbed every year. So much hate to Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. Karl Anthony Towns is putting up amazing numbers right now. Luka, he's Luka. I don't need to say anything else. But and Zach LaVine having a career year. I can't believe
they didn't vote the entire Dallas organization that is Luka Doncic on there. It's crazy.
If I were to change anything, I would put LaVine in over Trae Young. I'm not mad that Trae Young's in, but I would probably put LaVine over him. And then Wiggins just walk out the door. Like, Wiggins knows that he doesn't deserve it. He knows Luka deserves it.
I heard some players voted for Wiggins too.
Yeah, some players also voted for Ben Simmons. So, I mean, it's not exactly like this is the best thing. I'm pretty sure I sent that in the chat that someone voted for Ben Simmons, and then there was, I forget who else it was that got voted in. Give me uno momento.
You might have. I don't remember exactly. I just remember vaguely hearing that some players also voted.
Ben Simmons and John Wall, who haven't played a game this year, both got votes. I am sorry.
I don't know, man.
No, don't blame the players. They don't know what they're doing either.
If you guys had to pick one young player to build around, who would you pick?
Luke?
Okay. I've got 2 potential candidates. I would want to...
Sorry, I was going to say, why don't you hit us with one, and then Nick can do his, and you can do your second.
Okay. How about Jason Tatum, legitimately? one of the best shooting guards in the league still, even through his off year, right? We've seen what this guy can do in the past. He's still super young and he still takes a lot of shots and scores a lot of points. Despite this year, his percentages are a little bit down. I mean, we've seen what this guy can do. He's a monster.
My thing is, first off, he's a forward, not a guard. Get that right.
Oh,
Positional
whoops.
value. Positional value.
Notes are wrong.
Secondly,
Luke messed up his basketball notes.
I thought you would put Tatum. I really did. And my entire list are guys that I would rather have. I literally made the 3 players that I have in mind with players I would have over Tatum. Because yes, okay, that sounds really snobby, and I'm sorry, but allow me to explain. Allow me to explain. Personally,
Oh, go ahead. I'm listening.
I value players that can put up numbers in multiple categories. Okay, Tatum is a great scorer. Yes, you can find more scorers. The league continues to bring in new scorers. My thing is, the league doesn't continue to bring in guys that can do multiple things. So, of course, my number one, who I think should be unanimously the guy you start with, Luka Doncic. Doncic.
That was Doncic.
I'm a Texan man. I don't pronounce these European names. Okay.
Oh my
Luka, amazing scorer, great passer, efficient rebounder. He can go out there, and his defense has improved. He's a 6'7" guy guarding point guards and shooting guards. He's gonna be able to defend them well. He's getting more athletic. He's getting smart. He's getting smarter than he already was when he came into the league. Luka should far and away be the number one guy. But for all my things, I value guard play over forwards and centers, especially in the modern NBA. So
that's pretty fair.
All 3 of my guys are point guards. But I also value just the ability to do multiple things. Tatum's a great scorer, yes. But then he has random games where he only has 2 rebounds, and then he'll have a game where he has 10. But he doesn't do it consistently enough. He's usually closer to the 2 than he is to the 10. And assists, he's not a great passer. Defensively, he's a good defender. He is. He's an above average defender. But it's not like, if it was like, say, Jaylen Brown's level of defense, then we can talk. It's just not there. And I'm not going to say Luka's isn't, but Luka makes up with it for size and ability to pass and rebound. So
that's a fair pick. Yeah, I'll give it up. That's a fair pick. I did really mess up my notes. I put down SG instead of SF. My second option, Shea
Gilgeous-Alexander, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say Gilgeous. I was like
the one
sending up a prayer. I was sending up a prayer real quick that I got it right. Yeah. But legitimately one of the best young point guards in the league.
Yeah.
Even though he's at the Thunder, he's putting up insane numbers again. Great. He's a great scorer. Yeah. He's even younger than Tatum is, I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
This kid's got potential. He's got extreme potential. And I think this this segment is what the Thunder are actively doing with amassing all their picks. So I think that's pretty funny too.
So my thing with Shea is that out in OKC, he's had everything's on him. He's had all the time and growth he needs to be that guy, and he really hasn't become that guy. He's played like a number 2 option. He's played like a CJ McCollum. That's what he reminds me a lot of. He doesn't show. Like, there are moments where he shows like that big potential to be that big number 1 guy. It's not consistent. Now, if we want to talk about a consistent young player who's kind of shown some growth, Ja Morant.
That's fair. I mean, this is what I was expecting you to say too.
I mean, he's on one this year. He plays well above average of defense. The athleticism's there. He can give you 10 assists. He can give you 30 points. He can get up there. He can highlight reel. He can give you blocks. He's 6'3", 6'4", and he's going up and can block you off the backboard. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. The pure athleticism, the speed, the highlight ability, it's just there for Ja Morant. So he's another guy I would definitely build around. And he's showing that you can build around him out there in Memphis. Because, like, you look at some of the other guys out there, they're not that big. Jaren Jackson, okay. Steven Adams, overpaid. Desmond Bane has been their big.
I like Steven Adams.
I like him too. He's a great, nice guy, and it's always funny watching him break up fights by picking people up and carrying them away. But Steven Adams is not a big player. Like you have to be able to admit that he's a well-known medium player. Do you have a third player, or can I go ahead and just go to my third real quick?
I don't have a third, but I do want to mention in Shea's case, if I'm not mistaken, this year he's averaging more points, more rebounds. He's doing, if I'm not mistaken, better in some of his percentages than he has for his entire career. So you're not wrong about him getting the time and the opportunity to improve. And I think he's still going to improve, which is why I have him.
So I'm looking at his stats right now. 23 points, about 5 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. Shooting 46% from the field and 35% from three. Definitely good numbers. Very good numbers. He's 23 years old, so he's still very young.
Yes, very, very young. And he's like, what, 6'6"? He's tall.
He is 6'6", 180 pounds.
So tall.
He is big for a guard. Yeah, same thing for Luka. Luka's 6'7".
Yeah.
Shea is definitely like if you watch him move, he is a long dude. Like he is a nimble, long dude. But I mean, 3 years in OKC, all of his numbers are very similar. He had a big jump last year, and he's fallen down this year.
Granted, they played like 30-something games last year.
He played 35 games last year. He's played 42 this year.
So yeah, those numbers are naturally going to be.
But my final player, a guy, this is probably going to give me a bit of hate for taking him over like Tatum, like I said. Dejounte Murray out there in San Antonio. I love that guy. I really do. He is so underrated this year. He's putting up great numbers. I will admit he's not a number one guy. He is not really like the big scoring option like what Tatum is. But, I mean, almost 20 points a game, 8.5 rebounds, 9 assists. He's 4th in the league in assists. Like I said, I value guys that can do everything around. He scores 20 points, rebounding. He's almost 9 assists a game, 9 assists. I mean, it's almost a triple-double. He's almost averaging a triple-double. He's, I think, 2nd or 3rd in the league in steals right now. His three-point shot isn't there, but he's super elite from mid-range. He learned from the mid-range king, DeMar DeRozan, shooting mid-range shots. I mean, you can't say he's a bad player. He's a very good young player. And he's a guy that I've seen in a lot of trade talks to places like the Celtics. He is shining. He's doing well. He's another guy I would take over Tatum purely because of the fullness of his game. Would be the best way I can say that.
That's pretty fair. This is also a really tall dude at 6'4".
Yeah, 6'4" 4-point guard is pretty big. It's not as big as it used to be because that's about average now.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, 6'4", 6'5", and up is average now. Unfortunately,
in the NBA, average in the NBA for point guard, not average for society. Us guys around 6 foot in the regular world, we're tall. We're normally tall.
NFL. Divisional round chaos. 49ers versus Packers. The score was 13-10. 49ers won. I'm actually kind of shocked by this. We all thought like the Packers were supposed to take this, and what happened?
Aaron Rodgers, Blizzard, special teams. It's so easy. How do you mess it up? Oh, dude. Rodgers is gone. Like, I honestly think he's gone. Like, this was it. Like, he lost to Jimmy G in the playoffs at home because
0-4 lifetime record against San Francisco.
Yeah, but he's gonna make him regret it. But he's gonna make him regret not drafting him. My whole thing is that special teams was horrible. A blocked field goal, the punt touchdown, like. Come on, like they win that game 10-3, 10-6 without that touchdown.
Yep.
Like you can't do that. You can't have
that was the
at your own 5.
That was the Niners' only touchdown. They did not score an offensive touchdown. They did not score a defensive touchdown. It was special teams.
All year, the Packers' special teams has been bad. You never realize how bad, like you never realize how important special team is until you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, until it loses you the game.
Field goal.
Greg Zerline.
Just real quick, I want to say, 3 of these 4 games were won by a last-second field goal. Like this divisional round was the round of special teams. That's what it was. It's ridiculous how Aaron Rodgers let me down, man. They let me down.
Look, man, I'm not going to go so far as to say let me down because it's funny to watch the Packers lose.
My poor bracket. My bracket. It was so close.
Yeah,
So close.
no.
Guess who had the Packers losing?
I have
You
2
had the
things.
Packers as the winners of the Super Bowl.
I have one thing left, and it's the Chiefs. If the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl, that's the last thing I can get. Or the Rams lose. If the Rams lose next round, I guess I was right, but
I have the Chiefs in the Bengals game. That is what I have going for me right now.
That was a great job there. Okay, we'll get to that later. Right now, the 49ers, the only thing I have going for the 49ers right now, Jimmy G is proving how overrated the quarterback position is. Because we go out, we pay Dak Prescott this huge contract. We do all this last dance with Aaron Rodgers, making him the MVP player of the year. Jimmy G.
No touchdowns. He doesn't get touchdowns.
He has no touchdowns in this playoffs. Not one. Not a rushing.
It's so
not
insane.
Passing, nothing.
This team should not be winning.
This team. And they do it anyway.
Dan, I don't.
All that matters. If you can build a good team, you have a good defense, a good coaching staff. It doesn't matter who your quarterback is. You will win. This is helping me because this is shutting up Phillies fans. But then it's also hurting me because of other games that I will talk about later. But
yes, if you can build a team like San Francisco, you can get your quarterback in the dictionary as the definition of carried.
Bengals versus Titans. The score was 19-16, and Bengals won that game.
Are the Titans?
And I called it.
I told you.
So happy.
I told you Cincinnati would win.
Dude, I've said it before. I didn't think Ryan Tannehill was that guy. I have him ranked as my 16th quarterback when I made this list. I think he's in my bottom 20 now.
Yeah, I think it's like 22nd now.
Dude, there were moments in that game where he looked like an MVP caliber quarterback. Like some of the throws he was fitting in was ridiculous. And he killed it by throwing 3 interceptions.
Yep.
The only thing I can say about this, he threw into double coverage way too much. 2 of his 3 interceptions were balls deflected into the air that was caught afterwards. Bengals were prepared to make him move on anything that happened. Following that, though, the Bengals aren't very good. They're not. They've had the easiest path into the playoffs. They played a Raiders team that's destroyed and decimated. They played a Titans team that didn't have their best player at 100%. Like, they intercepted the opposing quarterback 3 times. 3 interceptions. And they won off a walk-off field goal. They won 19-16. Joe Burrow was sacked 9 times. The most times sacked in a win in a playoff history. That
is a very big problem, yes.
He also threw for no touchdowns. They're not getting these big plays that they had. They're not. Like the run that got them into the playoff, all those big plays, the 40-yard throws to Chase, those aren't happening. They're not getting these big breakaway plays. Going into the next game, Burrow is he's gonna be beat up. Like, you don't get sacked 9 times in a game and come out clean. You don't. I don't think the Bengals are that good. I think they probably had the easiest run they could have in the playoffs. I also followed up by saying that the Titans are probably the worst number 1 seed in the past 15 years. Like, you look at other teams, you're like, oh, this is a top-tier team. Even, like, if you look at Green Bay, they have the MVP in Aaron Rodgers, probably MVP in Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Not sure if that was deserved or not, but
like, then you have the Titans. I think, what's their division? It's the AFC South. I think we can agree that is probably the weakest division.
It is.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we can all agree that is the weakest division in the league.
When we did that podcast episode where we talked about worst divisions.
We sure did.
Didn't we both agree on the AFC South was probably one of the worst, if not the worst?
Jaguars, the Texans, the Colts, and the Titans.
The Titans.
Just bad division. They had an easy schedule. I will admit, during the season, they beat up playoff teams. And that's what I think. I think Mike Vrabel might still win Coach of the Year. This game was horribly coached. It was. They put way too much on 70% of Derrick Henry. Like, it wasn't 100% Derrick Henry. It wasn't. It was maybe 70% of him at best. But
which, to be fair, that is what I said about this game. If they did not get the King back at 110, they were not going to win.
I still disagree with that. They got the King at 70%, and they still should have won. It just so happens that Ryan Tannehill played at 30% mental capacity.
Yeah. Well, I also said in text, who did you think that extra 10% was making up for?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
The next game was Rams versus Buccaneers. The score was 30-27, and the Rams won.
He's gone. He's gone.
Oh Brady almost did it again. 27-3. He tied it up. He almost did it again.
But he didn't. Brady's out.
Hey, I predicted that the Bucs would lose. So I didn't have the Rams, but I predicted the Bucs would lose. So
I did too. So I'm happy about
Brady's gone. Brady's gone. Rogers is gone. The world is healing itself.
That's a later segment, Luke. Chill out. We'll get there. Dude, Cooper Kupp might be the most disrespected player in the league right now. Like, everyone wants to say, oh, he had a great season, yada, yada. He's still not a top 10 receiver. I think he's a top 5 receiver. I still don't put him up there with those, 5 elite guys of Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, those guys. I still think those are top-tier players. Justin Jefferson, he's not that. Cooper Kupp isn't that. His route running's elite. His hands are good. He's strong. He's fast. He makes all the catch. He has a huge catch radius. I think he might be the most underrated player this year, which is crazy to think. He just won the Triple Crown for receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, and catches. And he still might be underrated. My thought to this, the Rams are in trouble if they can't stop shutting down in the fourth quarter. They got to get that together. That's been rough the last few games. And finally, what the frick is Tom Brady? How does he...
Oh,
how do you play bad the whole game and then go into the fourth quarter and tie it up?
It's called top tier privilege.
I mean, we should have known the game was over when he got He got a unsportsmanlike conduct call.
True.
Brady paid the ref, but McVay paid him more.
This is what happens when the refs officiate fairly.
It's a very sight to see. And for the final game in the divisional round, in overtime, Bills versus Chiefs, 36-42, and Chiefs won. In overtime.
What a game. I watched that
what a game.
Start to finish and watched the whole thing.
Nothing
about that game wasn't anything. All the stuff.
Do you want to talk about the overtime or the late game shootout?
I want to talk about the specific thing of the Chiefs going 73 yards in the same time it took Dak Prescott to run a TV draw.
Gotcha. That's kind of what I figured.
Okay. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are probably top 3, top 2 quarterbacks in the league. Aaron Rodgers might be number 2, but I think Josh Allen and him are very interchangeable. I still think Patrick Mahomes is that guy. I still think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. Josh Allen is right there on his neck. There's nothing else you can say to that. 13 seconds and they managed to get all the way down in field goal range?
I'm telling you, imagine if Dallas had done that against San Francisco. Imagine.
Ridiculous. Davis, 8 receptions, 201 yards, and 4 touchdowns. I think he's the first.
Right. I remember.
To have 4 touchdowns.
He's the guy that.
I love looking at this win probability chart because it's little bit, little bit, and then the last little bit.
Davis is the wide receiver that absolutely folded that one Kansas City defender for the wide open touchdown.
Gabriel Davis, Never heard of this man ever. I have no idea who this guy was. 201 yards, 4 touchdowns.
That's what it takes for a team that's trying to make a Super Bowl run. You need everybody contributing.
Well, everyone
Everybody.
except for Mr. Stephon Diggs' revenge game of 3 receptions for 7 yards.
True, but you need everybody.
Dude,
When your stars can't carry, you have to have those guys that can step up.
Buffalo's defense got folded. Like, they got folded
It
by one.
did.
The number
That
one
was
defense-
honestly my biggest takeaway from that game.
Mhm.
At the end, the fourth quarter, when they're running like zone coverages as Mahomes is just throwing short passes over the middle and they
Yeah.
never change it.
That coaching was
It's
terrible at the end of the game.
Awful defensive coaching. You've got to be able to read that and make an adjustment, especially in a game like this. Just
They're
one
guarding-
stop.
They're
Just
guarding the
one stop.
sidelines. Kansas City has all their timeouts. They have to go a huge amount of yards, and they're guarding the sidelines. Like, why?
Yeah.
They're going to
I mean,
stop the clock
if
no
this-
matter what happens. Don't give them
If
the
this
offense.
exactly, if this was the Dallas game where we had no timeouts, I could see it, but not against a Kansas City offense that has 3 timeouts. Awful defensive play calling there. Terrible.
Going back to the Bills defense, I forget. I saw it on TikTok. I forget who said it, but he said, "Look at their schedule. Look at the Bills' schedule, and you can kind of tell why they were the number one pass defense. Like their first game, Pittsburgh, then Miami, Washington, Houston, Kansas City, Tennessee, Miami, Jacksonville, New York, the Colts, the Saints, New England, Tampa Bay, Carolina, New England, Atlanta, New York. Outside of Kansas City and Tampa Bay, none of those teams are big passing teams.
And most of them are bottom half of the league.
Yeah, we might have really overrated their defense. I still think it was a very good defense. Like, they definitely had their moments. I think it all came down to the fact that the Chiefs are horrifying. Like, you can't game plan them. Like, what do? You try to cover up Tyreek Hill. Oh, there's Travis Kelce, 30 yards.
Do it, Kelsey. Do it.
You guard Kelce. There's Tyreek Hill, middle of the field, and then sprints past 4 guys, peace signs, and scores a touchdown. How he didn't get a taunting call for that is beyond me. That was literally the picture when they were coming out of the taunting rule. Any article was that thing. It was Tyreek Hill's peace sign for the taunting, and he got away with it. All
right. Before we move on, all right, because I got what you said
Bills hate out of the way
about overrating the defense. I was willing to meet in the middle here because what I said was the Bills weren't going to be good. I don't remember my exact wording.
You said they sucked.
That might have been it.
I could probably pull up one of our 14 episodes and pull up you saying the Bills suck.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is I think I'm willing to meet in the middle here because they dueled Kansas City to the death.
Mhm.
And it kind of comes down to what you think, like where your personal expectations of success were for this team. Because yes, they're out in the divisional round, but like, were you expecting them to go that far? Or were you really expecting them to be in the Super Bowl?
I think they could have. I think they could have. If they beat the Chiefs, I think that this game was the Super Bowl. Like Rams.
That's a fair point. Yeah, that's a very fair point.
Chiefs, Bills. I think those were the Super Bowl games. Because
I think that's a fair point. But as far as I was concerned, from everything I heard leading up to the season, and I remember back in like episode 1 or 2 when I made that claim, you said, "Wow, the Super Bowl favorites not being in the Super Bowl." So for me, I would say this was less than expectation. So in that aspect, I was right. But I am willing to see the other side and kind of concede a little ground here. They had a stellar year despite a somewhat easy schedule. I'll concede. That was a good team. They just didn't do as good as they should have, and I called it.
After Bills versus Chiefs, who are the top 5 young quarterbacks?
I said this last pod. This is kind of why I included this. It was a setup, big brain play by me. I said that Allen versus Mahomes was going to be the game that tells us who is the best under 25 player. because I said it was a plateau that Patrick Mahomes used to own up there by himself. I think Allen's right there. Like my top 5 players for this are Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Joe Burrow, and Kyler Murray, with a honorable mention to Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. I think that they're all very good players. They're very good young players. Lamar Jackson, great player. He didn't play this year. He had a rough year after his MVP caliber season, but what you gonna do? I think Kyler Murray's better than him. They're both super fast, super elusive, but Kyler Murray has the better arm talent. It just so happens that he's also like 5 inches shorter. But Joe Burrow, we're seeing what he's doing in the playoffs. I still think Justin Herbert's better. I do. One of them finished with over 5,000 pass yards this year. And then, of course,
That's fair.
Mahomes, Allen, 1, 2. I honestly think it can literally be 1A and 1B right now. Like after that,
Isn't Mahomes like 26?
he is 25, I believe.
He's 26.
He's 26. I don't care.
Yes,
I'm
he-
counting him as Patrick Mahomes. He's 25 at the start of this. I'm still going to include him. It's Patrick Mahomes. He is the best young quarterback right now. I'm giving myself a little bit of leeway. I put Jalen Hurts in my honorable mentions here. Come on now. Surprised neither one of you came out of me at that one. No, Patrick Mahomes is 26, man.
I mean, I didn't include him on my list because when I looked this up, he was 26. So
I didn't realize he was 26.
At the start of the season, he was 25.
okay,
His,
that's fine.
his birthday's in September.
What's your 5?
All right, so my 5, I'll give Mahomes 1 with an asterisk, but I think my best quarterback right now is probably Josh Allen, followed by Joe Burrow and Kyler Murray at the 2, 3. I'm not sure which one would go which. I legitimately think Kyler is still a really, really good quarterback, despite the Cardinals' offensive, followed very closely by Justin Herbert. Guy's electric, incredible arm. And then I'm rounding out my top 5 with Mac Jones. Because I do think he got like the perfect scheme for him. I still think there's like a level of QB intelligence and talent that has to go into that scheme to make it work still. So I'm going to round out my top 5 with him. 2 and 3, that's really, really close for me. I could like switch those around at the flip of a coin, but
The disrespect for Herbert on your list. I get it, it's your opinion. Go at it.
He's top 4. What do you mean? He's top 4, and there's a very strong case to put him higher. I just didn't know if I would.
There's an arguable case to put him as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and you put, dude, Kyler Murray had a good year. He started off the year hot. He ended it badly. Kyler Murray and him, arm in arm, same thing. I actually think Herbert has a stronger arm and he's more accurate.
But Kyler probably moves better and is,
Yes, but you can't tell. Herbert still moves really well. On top of that,
he does. I think
Herbert's
Kyler moves
6'6".
better.
Kyler's 5'10", Herbert's 6'6". And I will live and die with this. Herbert's one of 2 players this year to throw for over 5,000 yards. The only other guy to do it was Tom Brady. Herbert, his weapons were down. His O-line is not good.
Neither is Joe Burrow's, but I mean.
You're right, but Joe Burrow's weapons are better. I mean, Jamar Chase gets him a ton of yards run after catch. T. Higgins is really good.
I really want to reiterate 2, 3, and 4 on my list are practically interchangeable. Mad respect for all these guys. They're insanely talented.
I think Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are better than almost anyone that Herbert has. I mean, Keenan Allen's really good, but Keenan Allen's more of a strength catch guy. He's a reliable target. He's not a big run after catch shifty guy. Jamar Chase, he's gone. T. Higgins is like 6'7". That's a big target.
That is a very big target.
He's also fast. He's like that deep ball guy. And Tyler Boyd's probably one of the best slot receivers in the league. So that's kind of the defense for Herbert there. I still think Herbert's over Burrow. I do. I really, really do.
It's fair. Honestly, it's fair.
I don't know why I'm coming at your opinions like this. That's the point of this.
That's the point of the podcast, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm surprised you put Mac Jones over Lamar Jackson.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how bright a future Lamar has. Like, when I think Lamar Jackson, I think he was good in the past, which is really weird for a QB that,
Yeah.
but he was better in the past.
I think he peaked.
Exactly. I do think he's already peaked. And that's especially true if Baltimore does what they did this season again. I really don't see a future in Baltimore, at least. I could be wrong, though. I could very much be wrong.
My thing with that is with Mac Jones, I think of Mac Jones, and I think I can have other quarterbacks I didn't even put on this list that I'd rather have over Mac Jones. Like, I'd rather have Jalen Hurts over Mac Jones. I'd rather have
That's fair.
Trevor Lawrence. I think I'd rather have Zach Wilson over.
I don't know if I would have Trevor Lawrence, but I could see Jalen. Like, I like Jalen too. OU rise up, but
Dude, I think Mac Jones is at his peak. Like, he went into the league being the most, like everyone was saying, he's the most NFL ready quarterback. I think he's peaked. He's behind one of the best O-lines in the league with one of the best coaches in the league. The thing that I think could really change is if he gets to that number one target. If they get him that number one receiver, I think that changes a lot. But I don't think he's going to improve much.
I think if he has peaked,
the only way he can go is down. His potential is not very high. He's a very, like you said, he's a very intelligent guy. He's very above average with his arm strength and his decision making. He's in the perfect system for him, and he still came up short this year. And I really don't think
defense.
I don't think he can go much higher. I kind of think he's at that point to where he doesn't. Like, when we look at like Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson, we can look at them and be like, their teams are bad. There's a reason, but we know that they can be better. Like, Zach Wilson showed improvement. Trevor Lawrence's coach left him halfway through. Urban Meyer was his coach.
Oof.
Like, we can point to reasons that they struggle. We can't point to the reason that Mac Jones struggled at the end of the season like he did. But
What I think about it, and the reason I put him at 5 is because if he has peaked, we will see that decline almost immediately. It will be very obvious.
Yes.
And like I said, I could be wrong on this. For now, he rounds out my top 5 because, like I said, there's a certain level of talent, intelligence, and all that goes into making any system work. But if he has peaked, if that potential isn't there, we will see it very, very quickly decline. And who knows? I mean,
he could be the next
if the Eagles get the perfect first round picks and they have the chance to do it, I could see Jalen being top 5.
I forgot to mention it during the Rams segment, but that's what scares me. If the Rams go out and win a Super Bowl, it's going to be pandemonium in Eagles Nation. If the 49ers go and win it, it's also going to be pandemonium in Eagles Nation. Or because the thing is with Jalen Hurts, I'm just going to throw this in real quick and I'll talk this fast. The Eagles fans either want one of 3 things. They want a veteran guy in, they want Jalen Hurts to be left alone and for us to build the team, or they want Deshaun Watson clean. My thinking is if Jimmy G goes and takes him to the Super Bowl, it proves just let the quarterback be the quarterback. It's what happens. Like, leave him alone, build the team, do good. Matt Stafford wins, it becomes trade for that veteran guy, even though they traded for way more than just a veteran quarterback this offseason.
Yeah, they very much did.
They built a
very much.
But Eagles fans don't care about that. Eagles fans they're very one-minded. They're very one-minded. I am I am the top 1% of Eagles fans that's actually open to other ideals.
That is a very polite way of saying all Eagles fans have half a brain cell.
No. Philly fans have half a brain cell. And we're all sharing it, but it's better than the Cowboys because they don't have even half of one their entire lives.
All right.
We'll do it next year, and then you never do it.
So what happens to Brady and Rogers? Let's talk about that.
They're both out. They're done.
Brady might retire.
I think they're both out.
Okay, here's my thinking. Either Brady's going to retire or he's going to stay with the Bucs. He might run it back, try to pull off one more year. Healthy, you get your guys back. They might try it.
I don't know.
Brady's been going on a bit of a rant lately about wanting to be with his family, about how it's time and retirement seems like a really good option right now. CBS Sports has gone into it and come out with reports. Like, it's kind of all pointing towards Brady retiring. And I don't know if I'm ready for that. Like, I've said I want him out of the league for a while now. But a league without Brady is going to be so weird. My whole life, Brady's been in that league.
It's going to be heaven.
It's going to be so weird. And then with Aaron Rodgers, I don't think he's going to retire. I don't think he's going to stay in Green Bay. But, I mean, my options for him, like what I put here and what's big with everything right now, Rodgers is either he's going to retire because he's done with it. He's done with football. He's just done.
Yeah.
Given up all hope. He's going to go to the Broncos because the head coach for them is now his old offensive coordinator in Green Bay. And, I mean, it's an amazing defense with a lot of really good young weapons. Broncos are very good. If he goes to the Broncos, that division quarterback, like you look in that division, it's something when you say Derek Carr is the worst quarterback in that division. It's going to be Herbert, Rodgers, Mahomes, and Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
Like that's arguably 1, 2, and 4 on the quarterbacks, and then like 12. Like that's big. And then another thing, Steelers have been showing up a lot lately for Aaron Rodgers. I don't know why. That O-line is horrible. The weapons are bad. The defense is amazing. The coaching is amazing. Their weapons.
If you're gonna go out and say you don't want to go to a team that's going to rebuild, and Pittsburgh pretty much has to rebuild their entire offense, don't see it. I think Tom's out. I think Tom's out. I think Aaron goes one more year and then he's out.
I was going to say, reading, I did a little bit of research, and Colin Coward doesn't think that, like, talked about it, doesn't think that Aaron Rodgers will retire. He thinks that he'll keep going. Now, how long? I don't know. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers is done yet. Personally, I think he maybe has a year or two left in him. Brady, I think he's done. But Aaron, I just don't think so. I don't think he's there yet.
The thing about Brady's done it all. And this year, he had a legitimately contender level Tampa Bay team. He broke records. His teammates broke records. And then it all fell apart. I mean, you saw what happened with AB. Despite his best efforts, him playing with Gronk in Tampa Bay, despite their best efforts, it didn't pan out. And honestly, I think Brady sees that this is the end, that if he comes back, it's just going to be more of the same. He's smashed the records. They've gotten over the milestones. He's won like as many Super Bowls as you could possibly win at this point. I don't think there's anything left.
Here's the thing, I'm thinking about is he going to walk out with this season, or do you think he's going to want one more and maybe try and bring it back and have a better end to his career? Because, I mean, this as an ending
That's the
season?
one thing I'm thinking is like
they made it to the divisional round.
Yeah, but still, like you're saying.
I mean, you get your guys back. Chris Godwin comes back healthy if they re-sign him. They build up that second.
If they re-sign him.
Well, after everything,
he's Tom Brady. Who doesn't want to play with him? He brings people out of retirement. He takes people out of prison and jail cells. People literally want to come to him. Richard Sherman, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski.
With everything you've said, I don't think that he's gonna want to end on a bad year. Like that just doesn't like sound right. Like
for what happened to Tampa Bay this year, can you say this was a bad year? Having one of your star receivers walk out in the middle of the game?
I mean, that's kind of the thinking, though.
They made it to the divisional round and almost made a 27-point comeback?
27-3, second time in his career.
Just because you can make it to the divisional round does not mean it was a good year.
Yeah, we're talking to
I would agree.
Cowboys fan. That's about as far as he gets. So.
No, I would definitely agree. That's exactly what happened to the Bills. We just talked about this.
Yeah, the Bills are so young.
That's what I'm saying. Tom Brady has done this so much, and he's gotten so far. What more is there to get? Why would he go another year?
To prove that he's still Tom Brady. He wants that Peyton Manning year. Like Peyton Manning did this.
How many awards do you have? You already said yourself he has so many, and how many Super Bowls has he gone to? Why would he end?
Like 12.
Why would he end on a bad season? Why? After everything he's done, why would he end on a bad season?
Because he's had so many good seasons, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so you're telling me if you were a pro player and you had the worst season of your life, you would quit? Let's talk about championship round predictions. All right, 49ers versus Rams.
Look, they can't keep the magic going.
They can't. But
Or can
I
they?
really hope they do. Comes down to my Eagles debate. This entire thing has an entire shockwave effect into Eagles fans. Because if Jimmy G pulls this off and shuts down Matt Stafford and the super team, it becomes rebuild. Quarterback isn't important. Quarterback is the most overrated position in sports. And I will have a heck of a debate after the pod if that happens. Or it's the other side of Eagles fan where it's we need a veteran guy to be competitive. These Eagle fans seem to think that our team is put together enough to be competitive and win a Super Bowl. It's not. But they seem to think it is. So, big repercussions from this game. I want the 49ers to win. I don't think they will. My thing is, the 49ers have owned. Kyle Shanahan has owned Sean McVay. He's 4-0 or 5-0 against him. And earlier this year, they were down bad, and they pulled off this big comeback to get them into the playoffs. Rams have been struggling in the fourth quarter. They just almost let up a huge game against Tom Brady. If this is gonna be the team that the 49ers beat, this is the magic. Like, this is where it comes down. The only person that I feel really bad for is Trey Lance, because if Jimmy G goes to the Super Bowl, there is no way he plays next year. They're gonna keep him. They're gonna ride with him. But this is where it's all gonna come down. So,
Listener.
but yeah. So Trey Lance would not start next year. It sets up a whole problem with the 49ers quarterbacks room if they trade Jimmy G or not, if he leads them to the Super Bowl. Again, if he rides their coattails to the Super Bowl. But
here's the thing. Look, San Francisco has gotten extremely lucky. They can't win a Super Bowl with a quarterback like Jimmy G. Let's be honest.
They almost did it before. They almost did it against the Chiefs. And they
Almost.
The defense
Almost.
The defense sold that game. Jimmy G didn't sell. Jimmy G was Jimmy G. The defense.
For better or for worse, Jimmy G was Jimmy G. But
or average, Jimmy G was there.
I don't see a world where the Rams don't win this. I mean, yes, they almost gave up the comeback, but that was against a far, far better Tom Brady.
We said the same thing.
I can't see the 49ers winning.
We said the same thing when the 49ers played the Cowboys. We said the same thing when the 49ers played Green Bay. I am more convinced that the 49ers deserve to be here than I am that the Bengals deserve to be here. The Bengals played the Raiders and the Titans. The 49ers played the Cowboys and Green Bay. That is a lot better convincing to me. I think that
apparently Green Bay shouldn't be counted for much.
They should. Green Bay should. Their special teams.
Green Bay is.
The rest of that team should.
I don't see a world where LA loses this.
I have no idea. The 49ers are the underdog this game. The win-loss is a 2-game difference. I really don't know who this game is going to go to. We've been talking about 49ers have been lucky, but could they keep this luck and pull it off? Is that something that we actually could talk about? Because I mean, Nick's right. They won against our Cowboys. They won against the Packers. None of us thought that was going to happen, yet they did it. And the fact that they did it proves they deserve to be here.
I thought the 49ers were going to beat the Cowboys. Let's be honest here. I said that.
Yeah, that's irrelevant. But the 49ers versus the Packers.
Yes.
They still pulled off that game.
All right.
I'm really at a loss for this game. I have no idea.
The one thing that's really going right now is the 49ers have beaten them twice this year already. They won both of the divisional games this year. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. It is very hard to beat a team 3 times. And like you said, Jimmy G really isn't that guy. Matt Stafford's definitely better. Donald's definitely better. Von Miller's better. Jalen Ramsey's better. On paper, this team is better. And that's why I think they're going to win. They are obviously the better team. And it's hard to beat a team 3 times. I got the Rams winning this. But I'm not counting out the 49ers. I'm not.
Bengals versus Chiefs.
I've been on the Cincinnati hype train this whole playoffs.
Oh, are you doing what I did with the Chargers?
This is where it ends.
Luke, it ends in heartbreak, man. It ends in heartbreak.
This is where it ends for them.
I'm going to tell you. It hurts because I have the Chiefs going on, but this part of me wants it to be the Bengals.
Tori's nagging feeling of the week.
Want it. I have the Chiefs. It was my final picks. I have them going to the Super Bowl, but that part of me just wants me to be wrong, and I want them to win and take it. I don't know why, but I do.
Here's my reasoning here. Joe Burrow is beat up. 9 sacks. That's rough. That O-line for the Bengals is terrible. If you let a guy like Jeffrey Simmons get through your line, you allow 9 sacks versus the pass rush of the Titans, which is not a good pass rush, might I add.
Just in case you weren't clear on that.
Yeah, Mark Ingram, Chris Jones. Chris Jones is going to have a day because their worst linemen are their guards. Chris Jones is one of the best interior rushers in the league. He is going to have a field day. Burrow's going to get hurt. The way that the Bengals beat the Chiefs last time they played was big play, big play, big play. They haven't been doing that this postseason. They haven't. The Chiefs just came off of a huge game. They did. It was a huge overtime win against the Bills. I think they're going to do it again. I do. I think that the Bengals are not going to be able to pull this off. I think that the Chiefs are going to go out there. They're going to have a heck of a game. It's going to be a very high-scoring game. But I think the Chiefs are going to carry that momentum and get themselves into the Super Bowl. The Bengals had probably the easiest playoff road, I think, in NCAA.
Yep, I have to agree. This game will be won in the trenches, as they say.
And
it'll be one with the
this
arm strength of the quarterback, one throwing for 50 yards, and the other one dying.
talking about
Here's the thing. Sorry, Tori, I'll get to you in a second. Just really quick, all I got to say. If the Cincinnati line can put up a decent fight.
They can't. They can't.
If they can, this can be a close game. That's all I got to say about it.
The odds aren't good. Kansas City is -7. And the 49ers versus Rams, LA Rams are -3.5. With that, I don't think the Bengals can pull it off. Would I love to see it? Yes. Do I think it's going to happen? No.
The Chiefs win. We have the start of the next Patriots dynasty right there. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, was it 3 Super Bowls in the last 4 years? The last 3 years?
I think that is it for this episode, guys. I'm closing us out this week.
Whoa, that's my job here. You promote the media as I close us out.
I'm kidding.
And I stay completely silent.
You
Luke,
do.
You're not allowed to do. Ever since we let you try it one time, never again.
Follow our socials.
Follow our socials. Like,
and
subscribe.
And TikTok and Twitter and YouTube. We're on 5 things, guys.
Rate us on Spotify. You can rate us 5 stars, by the kindness of your heart. And because we deserve it, because we know that we're that good. You come to us.
Hit the bell icon. I need you to hit the bell icon. You have 5 seconds to hit the bell icon on YouTube.
Follow us on all the socials. Like, follow, subscribe, follow, listen, like, rate, subscribe. Thank you.
Okay.
And YouTube.
I got it. Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Got it? Perfect.
Man, do I have fun editing our outros.
Everyone, thank you for listening and have a good one.
Peace.
See ya.
Podcast.